So, it says it's streaming to Twitch. Good, good. Okay. Hi, everyone. Sorry about that. I may have previously been streaming to another platform and forgot to change my settings in the past, but I hadn't done anything. I was just testing it. But it's working, I think. Let me know if there are any issues. Welcome to the Stars Without Number faction turn. I'm going to... Oh, that's the wrong F11. This is the right F11. Okay, cool. So this is the spreadsheet. For those of you who are players who are watching this, there will obviously be spoilers. So, make your choice. Either way, spoilers are probably already on screen because of the factions and stuff. So this is the third faction turn. We're not that far in. Usually need to get to about 5 or 6 before the action really starts happening, but we're getting pretty close into it. And then I believe, is that the button Shift Tabs? No, is it this button? Yes, that's how to Shift Tabs. That's Roll20. That's the thing. That's all we need. Okay, so let's just jump into it. So firstly, I'm going to roll to see who goes first. There are 9 factions in total. So I'm just going to roll a d9, because fictional dice are a thing in this game. 1. So the first person to go is Quantum Jump Technology. They are going to get their income of 5, bringing them to 11 fact credits. Their goal is Wealth of Worlds. Basically, spend fact credits and throw them into the ether to gain XP. They need to spend a number of fact credits equal to their faction's wealth rating, but then they cannot actually choose this goal again until their wealth rating increases. So easy XP, but they can't farm it. But they have 11 fact credits. They need to spend 6. So I'm going to double check if they're going to do this immediately. They probably will. Because the other option is they defend themselves from the Howling Corsairs. I think they will. They're going to throw 6 credits into the ether, bringing them back down to 5 credits, completing their goal. So firstly, turn tracker, faction turns, top Quantum Jump Technologies. Let's see. I'm just going to spent 6 fact creds on Wealth of Worlds. Completed goal. Dun dun dun. 2x. Oh, no, I just shift. Is it control? Control enter. There we go. 2 XP. Yeah, update that on their thing. They now have 4 XP, which is pretty cool. I don't think that's enough for them, but I could be wrong. Let me check. It costs 4 XP to raise something from 2 to 3. They don't have any. Okay, they get like 2 more experience. Then they can start raising a stat, which I've actually almost never seen before. It's a big thing when you raise a stat from 3 to 4 or something like that. It's faction advancement is much slower than player character advancement. Either way, they don't have enough XP to spend yet, but they're going to get a new goal. So, back in the asset tracker, I have all of this stuff sorted by hex, and in 2 different places, they are sharing a hex and a planet with the Howling Corsairs. Both of their fleets. So they want to survive that. Now, there are multiple different types of military-related goals that they can choose. So I want to double check which one they would choose. The military goals could be military conquest, destroy a number of force assets, if they're focusing on numbers. But I think there's just 1 or 2 assets in each one that are Howling Corsairs. The other option is Invincible Valor. Destroy a force asset with a minimum purchase rating higher than your faction's force rating. Thus, if your force is 3, you need to destroy a unit that requires force 4 or higher to purchase. So, is that a thing they might choose? What is their force? 5. So they need to destroy... If they chose that, they would need to destroy something of force 6 or higher. Well, in one thing, the Howling Corsairs' capital fleet is there, which is definitely higher. Problem is, that thing can also move 3 hexes in 1 turn. That's not going to be easy to kill. If it gets weakened, they can retreat. None of these are great. Blood the enemy. Inflict a number of hit points of damage on an enemy faction. Yeah, they're going to go with Blood the enemy. Blood the enemy. Blood the enemy. Then this should update notes for selection. Update the notes for selection. Didn't do a thing. Doesn't look like that's working. Oh well. Here we go. Blood the enemy. Inflict a number of hit points of damage on enemy faction, assets, or bases equal to your faction's total force, cunning, and wealth ratings. Everyone's getting this. So, difficulty 2. That part's going to stay the same. Oops, nope. That didn't go. So, just stay open. Go. So, let me remove the line breaks, because they look really bad. Now, total force, cunning, and wealth, 6, 5, and 3 is 14. So they are currently at 0 out of 14. But they are about to go, and they... Paintbolts are... Okay, so the easy tech and starships. They still have 5 fat creds. What do they have right now? Short A to Z. Here we go. Quantum jump. They have post-tech industry there. That's safe all the way Hexen 101 the north. They have covert shipping up there too. So that's not... They could make some money. They have a commodities broker on Aria. Oh, that could deal some damage. I think Howling Corsair's wealth is 5 versus Quantum Jump's wealth of 6. So that's the only... They attack them with that. It's probably the best idea. And then on the other side, they have a strike fleet on Ulks. I think I did decide how I was going to pronounce it properly and then forgot. Whatever. Versus the Howling Corsairs. 302, they have a blockade fleet, which doesn't have any counter damage. Alright, they're going to attack. So, let's do it. So, faction turns. Oh, there we go. Attack action. Yay, we're having our first attack action? Wait, really? Yeah. Everyone else, there's been some roles in terms of like realizing about other people's bases when they were like contested, but no full-on attack actions. So let's see. Attacking Howling Corsairs with the commodities broker. Okay. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure you can attack force assets. I think it's lawyers. Some things won't allow you to attack force assets, but I think that's lawyers. Yeah. Okay. Lawyers, specifically just lawyers, not the rest of wealth assets. Counterattack or counterattack force assets. But a commodities broker can. It's literally going to buy them out. Yeah, they're going to say they're literally paying protection money to buy out the Howling Corsairs and bribe them. They're paying tribute to the Howling Corsairs instead of being attacked. Let's see how this goes. So let's see if this tribute is good or bad in terms of how this deal goes. Wealth versus wealth. So D10 plus 6 for the attack. Okay, pretty good, but it's a D10 plus 5 for the defense. Both... Oh, no, okay. Oh, okay. So on a tie, in our first attack roll ever, we have a tie. On a tie, both attack damage and counter damage is done. Both of those for these assets are very high, I believe. So, I believe the only thing, because they're firstly attacking with their commodities broker, that's the only thing they have to attack with on Aria. Okay. So, yeah. And Howling Corsairs only have the blockade fleet. That's not Aria. Only have the capital fleet on Aria. So, 3d8 damage is going to be dealt to... Yep. 3d8 damage is going to be dealt to the commodities broker. And 2d8 damage is going to be... Nope, that's... Well, it's still a commodities broker. It's not their commodities broker, but it is still the same stats. So, carnage all around. Let's see how this goes. 2d8 damage in the attack. 8 damage is dealt to the capital fleet of the Howling Corsairs. It is at 22 out of 30 hit points. The capital fleets are expensive and amazing. And they get their they don't get their goal, but they get some progress. 8 out of 14 in one attack is pretty good. But there's counterattack damage. Howling Corsairs respond in kind. 8 damage all around. 12s, 8s, everything. They're blow for blow. Problem is, those commodities brokers only have 10 health as opposed to the 30 of the fleet. But they don't have 8 health. They have 10. They survived. Quantum Jump, commodities broker, Honoria, with 2 health remaining. So that was interesting. I am going to highlight this a red, a lighter red than that. No, I'm wrong. Darker red, to show that it is damaged. Same with this. Perfect. And where are we? Howling Corsairs also have blood the enemy, but they have to deal 20 damage because their ratings are higher. But they dealt 8. That was the first attack. However, with an attack action, you attack with all assets. So, what else does Quantum Jump have to attack with? Just their strike fleet on monks. So this is full on. The other one was commodities broker versus spaceships. I'll figure that out later as to how exactly it went down. It might have been violence. It might have just been like dealt damage to Quantum Jump, in that it. Yeah, we'll figure out how that worked. There might not have been violence involved necessarily in faction damage. Yeah, exactly. Zen is correct. The economy is going through. It's just going down the drain even more. But this is spaceship versus spaceship. This is full-on violence. This is big plasma cannons. Let's see how this goes. This is force versus force. The Howling Corsairs are pirates, which doesn't matter right now unless someone comes to go do that. Okay, cool. So, force versus force is a +5 for the attack and a +8 for the defense. So that's going to be fun. But, again, the Howling Corsairs do not have any counterattack damage, so it's okay if they lose. Well, it's not the worst. So, D10 +5 for the attack. Oh, okay. So it's, yeah, no, nothing happens because they failed. If they fail, they would receive counterattack damage. If it can do counterattack damage, it cannot. So, faction turns. Tie. 8 damage dealt to both faction assets. That was for the previous one. And then attacking. I'll actually add the planet just so I know. Attacking. Corsairs defend with capital fleet. Tie, 8 damage dealt to both faction assets. I'll just do both assets. Okay, perfect. Attacking Howling Corsairs with strike fleet on Onks. Corsairs. I'll remove this as well. Defend with blockade fleet. Lose. No, nothing happens. So that's gonna be interesting in a space battle where nothing happens. I suspect. I think I know what's gonna happen. The strike fleet is usually a better asset than a blockade fleet, I think. But a blockade fleet makes money, so the strike fleet might have attacked first, but the blockade fleet might have just slipped away. Instead of they don't do counter damage, they didn't counterattack. They just slipped away and got away from this strike fleet. But they're both still over the planet. And that is the turn of Quantum Jump Technologies. First turn done, 8 to go. So there's only 8 left. And that reminds me, I'm going to mark this with a gray thing showing that it has gone. So now there are these 8 to go. And so 6. This will now be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The Croth Mega Conglomerate, a faction that has not yet been introduced into the game, as it is far away. So Wealth of Worlds is also what they have. They get their income of 6, bringing them up to 15. I wonder what they're going to do. Exactly the same thing, obviously. They are going to complete their goal. It's going to literally copy this part and jump down here and enter it there. They are going to receive 2. There we go. But I'm actually not sure what their goal is going to be because they are very differently positioned than Quantum Jump. Quantum Jumps has to fight for their survival right now. Croth? Croth is fine. So, for those not aware of who Croth is, the Croth Bank Conglomerate is basically the big general space corp. While Quantum Jump is a bit smaller, not that small, but it's smaller, and it creates specialized like technology and everything like that. Croth Bank Conglomerate is the people who manufacture generally everything. They make toothpaste and they just have subcorporations. Here's the thing. They're run by aliens. Immortal aliens. It's a whole thing. Planet generation. What can you do? So they are a megacorp run by immortal aliens. It's a thing. And while they don't like humanity, their revenge against humanity they have a thing behind that is not military takeover, but economic totalitarianism. Let's call it that. So they are planning to just literally expand commercially. Problem is, I can bring over my X map. Here we go. They are the green sections. This is the sector map. I have a faction layer here. This is where everything is. If the stripes equals multiple factions. They are the green in this one. They are all the way down here, away from everyone else. They are actually like fairly friendly with Howling Corsairs. They sell to them and have a business dealing with them there. And they are also buddy with the Ascendancy. The like, yeah, they are not great people, but they aren't actively evil. They are passively enablers. This is where the fighting was going on last time. So they just want to expand, I think. They did Wealth of Worlds. They can't do it again until their wealth asset goes up. Where are we? Assets and XP tables. There's nothing there. Oh, that's useful, though. Okay. They're going to need a new goal. They're going to expand influence. They could do it. Planetary seizure. Not bad. Commercial expansion. Again, they're not. I think I'm just going to do Peaceable Kingdom for them. Yeah, Peaceable Kingdom. While they expand, they're just going to make friends and sell stuff to everybody. So, don't take an attack action for 4 turns. Difficulty 1. That is literally going to be their goal. Don't attack people. They also spent 6 fact grids to accomplish their goal. So they are powerful. They are quite wealthy. But what do they have? Roth Mega Conglomerates. They want to make money. They have a party machine, which I believe is in play already. So a -1 to upkeep. Upkeep normally takes away and is removal for your income. So I took a -1 because it's a double negative. That's why that's like that, if you're wondering. The spreadsheet doesn't like it in terms of it gives error messages, but there's no actual errors when it calculates it. So it's fine. Commodities broker, race of influence, covert shipping. What have they been doing? That's the wrong thing. Action turns. Should go where because the others don't matter as much. There we go. They expanded influence to Mabakazace. They bought a base of influence there. And then nothing else. Okay. And they have 9 action. They have 9 credits. They have got credits to spend. Okay, well, let's get them a good wealth asset then. I think they might buy a good wealth asset. They have no discount, because last time they spent it all. What have we got? Asset and XP tables. Wealth 6. Oh, they have 9. They could get, do they have a commodities broker? Everyone loves commodities brokers. I don't think these guys actually have one, though. No, they do. They could get another one. I'm gonna save up money for them this turn. So this turn, that would require faction turn. Use assets action. Used venture capital. Let's use the venture capital. Let's see what we got. Venture capital. Roll a d8. Not a 1, not a 1, not a 1, not a 3. Okay, 3's good. 1 gets, I think it gets destroyed. Yes, on a 2 to 3, 1 fact cred is gained. Okay, perfect. Use venture capital for +1 fact cred. So they gain 1 fact cred. Perfect. Then they are going to use their party machines are automatic, commodities broker, and that's all. And then they can use covert shipping. Okay. Is that also D8? Yes. Okay. 8. Wow, they give it. Okay. That is fantastic. The next time they're going to buy something. Faction turns. Used commodities broker for -8 to next purchase. And then the last thing they have is covert shipping on this very strangely spelled planet that I've decided to call Mars. 503 is where that is. Where's 503? Oh, there's 503. Covert shipping's there. Okay, so they can move anything else. Do they have anything else in 503? They have a base of influence, and that's it. Okay, so there's nothing to move yet. Covert shipping allows them to move any worlds within 3 hexes at the cost of 1 fact cred. Within 3 hexes... I'm going to move this back onto the stream so that you guys can see what I'm seeing. Within 3 hexes, they can just reach there, and they have something on the Ascendancy base. I think, for now, though, I think they want to keep something on their base of influence. So I don't think they're going to move their commodities broker away from there. They're going to keep it there. So yeah, nope, not going to use that. That's their turn. Okay. So, next. That was the 8. Let's go with a D7 now for 6. So, that has gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip 6. Ciphers go next. So, Ciphers, the player character friendly faction, who they've very close to joined, but not. They prefer their freedom than fully joining it. So they get 4, going up to 10 fact creds. Their goal is to expand influence. Last turn, they have managed to plant some people on Mabakazeus. Where are we? Ciphers. They managed to use Covert Transignac to move their Psychic Assassins from Inanrat to Mabakazeus. So now, they're going to try and plant that base of influence. So, what did I just type before? I want to make sure my expand influence action is what I used. Okay. Expand influence action onto, I'm just going to call it Mabakazeus because it's Mabakazeus. There we go. Using Psychic Assassins. They have to spend the fact creds first. Psychic Assassins are lovely for defending. They aren't, by the way. They're terrible. So, how does the expand influence action work? It's a bit complicated right now. Firstly, they spend fact creds to create a base of influence. They're going to spend all of their fact creds because this thing is at risk of being under attack, and if it gets attacked, it will take damage. They don't want it to die. So they are making a very secure base. I don't believe that these guys have any discounts. The Ciphers do not have anything that will give them discounts on buying stuff, so it is just 10 fact creds for a 10 HP 1. Okay. Spent 10 FC for 10 HP base of influence. I'm not going to make it on the asset tracker. We'll see if it survives. So, when a base is planted, here we go. Expand influence. You buy a base of influence. The faction then rolls a D10 plus cunning rating against similar rolls by every other faction on the planet. So, does anyone here have a bonus? Nope, not for them. The Cloth Mega Conglomerate will, by the way, be, yeah, they're definitely going to be rolling to at least know if they're there. I don't know if they're necessarily going to attack. Especially, no, they have Peaceable Kingdom. They're not going to attack. If they know. But they probably will let the Ascendancy know. Once per turn, the faction may roll an additional d10 when making an attack against an asset which requires tech level 5 to purchase. The faction may roll an extra die when making a test to detect stealth assets. So none of these have any factor on expanding. So, Cunning is +6. So this is the defense roll against other people. They're setting the DC, basically, for their stealth roll. 11. So other factions have to roll, I believe, is it higher? Equal or beat will detect. Okay. So they have to roll an 11 or higher. So let's see if Croth at least can detect them. So that is a +5. Croth detects them. Now, if they detect them, they may make a free attack action against the base of influence if they wish. This is where the choice comes in, after they detect them. So, they have Peaceable Kingdom. So they will not detect them. Also, I just realized Peaceable Kingdom, technically, one turn has gone by already where they launched no attacks, because they took this at the beginning of their turn. But the Ascendancy also has a cunning of 5. Oh boy! They detect them, and they are going to attack. So, here's the thing that it says. Any of the others that equal or beat the faction's roll may make a free immediate attack action against the base of influence. Other assets may defend as normal, but an attack action is not an attack with a single asset. An attack action is an attack with all of your assets. In this case, that's on the planet. I am saying this before knowing for sure how many assets they have, and this is why they spend so much money on that base, to hopefully keep it alive. The Ascendancy on Mabakazes has Venture Capital, and that's the only thing it can attack. Okay, well, they get to launch a free attack with Venture Capital. That does 2d6 damage. If it wins, it is possible for that thing to just wipe out the base of influence here and now. If they defend with their Psychic Assassins, they will get no counter damage. They will almost definitely lose them. And they even if they defend at all, they will lose stealth. No counter damage. Okay. In this case, I think they're going to defend with just their base of influence, which is going to be mean. So, wealth versus wealth for the Ascendancy. This is going to be mean, but if they don't lose their base of influence, then they're good. For now. The problem is the Ciphers don't have anything to... the Ciphers don't have anything to defend it with. We got 4... Thinking in the future, we're just going to take another thing next turn. Unless they... Okay. I am thinking ahead right now as to what would happen next turn after this if they survive with both of their assets intact. And they could probably, next turn, if they can go before them, buy something to defend. How much is stealth? Stealth is 2 fat crits. It can only be purchased on special forces, though. Okay, so you can't purchase it afterwards. Okay. Okay. I think they're going to defend with just... Yeah, this is going to be mean. This is going to be nasty. In terms of the free asset, Zen is asking if the Ciphers get a free asset. I presume because of the pirate base thing. Not yet, no. So far, because we're not going... I think we're going to have a very short time skip for tomorrow's session, but not a long one. So far, they haven't yet gotten anything that will specifically help them with their, let's call it, engagements with outside factions. Not yet. If you guys give them something that is, if they have time spent here or anything like that, then yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. No, I think I could give it to them now. I don't see why not. I just talked myself. I talked myself out of it verbally, and then I thought myself into them getting a free asset mentally. They'll lose this asset if the player if something happens to it or as normal, but yeah, I think that makes sense. So they would get an asset, probably a wealth asset. It's like post-deck industry isn't right. Writer contract isn't right. Basically, yeah, this is a base that it's an area. The base itself is nice. The main thing that it is good for is the fact that it's unknown and the fact that it's covered with spaceship salvage that they can use to make money, and that's what the previous people were doing. Harvesters, I think, make the most sense. Either harvesters or a false front. False front resources allow a faction to preserve more valuable resources. If another asset on the planet suffers enough damage to destroy it, the faction can sacrifice the false front instead to nullify the killing blow. Harvesters make the most sense. This is too far away from the planet. This is on the edge of the system. So, tripwire cells, observers intended to alert the arrival of stealth units. Nope. I don't think that makes sense quite yet. They haven't set that up. This is just, yeah. Yep, okay. Harvesters it is. Zena's right. Ciphers get harvesters from the mission that got completed for it. And it is in space, but it is still in over the. It's over Viante. I'll just call it Viante. It's the only planet in the system, so yeah. I think we're good there. Sadly, Zen, there is no factory asset. There is pre-tech industry or post-tech industry, but that is that is having a large-scale factory or multiple buildings for factories. This I think is too small to be a full-on post-tech industry. But a harvester basically is a mini post-tech industry in terms of its effect. So I feel that's probably a good one. Yeah, those are my thoughts. There's a laboratory, but they don't need it because of what tech they have. Yeah. So, what are we going to do? Right. The Ascendancy is going to attack using their only thing on. Oh, yeah, I was looking at the commodities broker. Nope. Venture capital is going to attack with wealth v wealth 2d6. Wealth versus wealth. Okay, d10 plus 6 for the Ascendancy. The reason they have so much wealth is because wealth in this term and in the faction term is not just liquid assets or even necessarily venture capital or business related stuff. It also includes industry and scientific research and a lot of research and scientific and tech related buildings as well. So the Ascendancy is very tech and research oriented. That's kind of their whole shtick. So that's why they have wealth as their highest. D10 plus 6. They got a max attack. Okay. Oh boy. Ciphers are not doing well. They can defend with a D10 plus 3. This is just going just to see how well it was, or if it was a massacre, if it was a good defense. It was a medium defense. Okay. I believe it's 2d6 damage. If it's 10 or higher, the base is destroyed. Oh. 2 damage. Okay. So this is 2 damage to a base of influence, which means it's also 2 damage to the faction. So, go there. That isn't useful. That is saying the ciphers are partially bloodied. Ascendancy, their goal is to blood the enemy. Congratulations, you dealt. Oops. Oh, stop it. There we go. You dealt 2 damage, Ascendancy. Good job. And 2 damage is being dealt to the cipher's base of influence. So I haven't built that base of influence yet. So base of influence, it's going to have 10, 10. It's going to be, stop telling me that, Abacazeus, and it is going to have 8 health instead of 10. That was the most scary attack and least scary damage and anything like that I've seen. Oops, I don't want to change that. I want to change this. It's damaged. Perfect. So let's record that in the faction turn. Croth detected the base, but did not attack. The Ascendancy detected the base, attacked. Ciphers defended with base of influence directly. Attack was successful for 2 damage. So, with all of that said and done, they completed their goal. They planted a base of influence on a new planet, difficulty 2, because it was contested by a rival faction. So they did it. Now, their new goal here, is amongst all of this chaos, they want to blood some enemies. They have some Psychic Assassins there. Psychic Assassins don't do counter damage. They deal attack damage, which I need to... It's true. So they're going to also blood the enemy. Everybody's out for blood. So their things together are 14. So they're at 0 out of 14 blood drawn so far. That is their turn. Was it this one? Not all the same shades of gray, but it's not a big deal. So there are 6 left. Let's roll an actual die right now. D6, 2. SWN Vanguard's going next. I'll do this right now so I don't forget. They get their income of 5, which I believe includes everything else already. That's auto-calculated. If I do 0, I'll go down to 4. Yep, so -1 from the party machine. 7. Except for Archive. Purchasing an asset that requires tech level 4 or more costs 1 fewer fact cred than normal, which I'll need to remember. So, they have Peaceable Kingdom. They have 2 turns. They may still defend, but they will not attack. Last turn, they purchased the SWN Vanguard, the alien high-tech military, purchased Beachhead Landers last turn. Actually, I should say on, because it was on their home planet of Zeri. They can use the Beachhead Landers. As an action, the asset may move any number of assets on the planet, including itself, to any world within 1 hex at a cost of 1 fact cred per asset moved. So, on their home planet, well, that's a backstory thing. On what is now their home planet, they have pre-tech infantry. These guys are big deals. They actually deal more counter damage than normal damage. They are going to send this pre-tech infantry from Zeri to Iria. Yes, that's where they're going to send it to. So, they're using the use assets action. Use assets action. I think. They could wait a turn. What do they have over there? On Iria, they have a strike fleet. Strike fleet's not going to do a lot. Strike fleet might also blow up. Their strike fleet does not have as much health as free tech infantry. Yeah, okay. They're going to send it over. Use assets action. So, using first, they can use all of their assets. So firstly, pre-tech infantry doesn't have anything. Party machine's automatic. Post-tech infantry. Let's just do that first. Post-tech industry. Industry to roll a d8. I believe it's roll a d8. No, it's a d6 for this one. Interesting how it changes. 6. 6 is good. On a 5 or 6, they gain 2 fact creds. Okay, perfect. So, industry and rolled a 6 for +2 fact creds. Asset tracker doesn't matter right now. I want to use SWN Vanguard. Are now at 9 fact creds. Okay, perfect. After that, they're going to use their Beachhead Landers. Beachhead Landers. And spent 1 fact cred to send pre-tech infantry to Iria. So, pre-tech infantry, you guys are going to Iria. And they are spending 1 fact cred to do so. And now they have 1 turn. That's the end of their turn. They have spent 3 out of 4 turns not attacking, so they have 1 more turn to not attack, and then they will start attacking the Howling Corsairs back. The Howling Corsairs haven't gone yet, so we'll see how much damage they take. And they is either of them, honestly, because that could counter damage. So, yeah, that was their whole turn. D5 now. Imaginary dice. Got a 2. Heralds of Posterity. So, the Heralds of Posterity, I'm not going to say a lot, other than they are Machiavellian. Income of 7 brings them to 17 fat creds. Last turn, that's not the turn tracker. Last turn, they expanded influence onto Zesta, or Zaste. Maybe it's just a silent E. That sounds better. They goal completed. They got 1 XP. They use their commodities broker discount. And now their new goal is blood the enemy. So, wait, did I do that wrong? 8 damage should have been the Howling Corsairs. Yep, I did that wrong. 8 damage was dealt by the Howling Corsairs, not by the Heralds. Glad I got that. Is that right? Yeah. 8 damage was from the Commodities Broker and Capital Fleet. That was all Howling Corsairs. Okay. So they want to inflict a number of hit points damage on enemies. What do they have? How will they do that? So they have... Go. Nope. I don't want to do that. This. What have we got? They have some Psychic Assassins on Zaist, which is not cheered by anyone because they just use it to expend. Okay, so those Psychic Assassins are just going to kind of stay there. Probably. Ursadi. They have a popular movement, which isn't bad. It deals decent damage. It has decent health. I believe there are some Howling Corsairs. So these guys are going to fight the Howling Corsairs. Popular movement versus Space Marines. This should be fun. So, this will be Cunning versus Cunning if they want to attack now. They could attack now. Space Marines will thrash anything that attacks them back. The Space Marines, how much health do they have? Can take out the Space Marines in one attack. 16 health. They both share 16 health. The Space Marines deal 2d8 plus 2. These guys deal 2d6. They're going to buy an asset on Ursadi. Do they have a basic influence to do so? They do. So they're going to buy an asset on Ursadi with a ridiculous amount of money. Let's see what they're going to buy. They can have up to 8 Cunning. They can have up to Tech level 4, 7 Wealth, 8 Cunning, 5 Force. Okay, what are they going to buy? Something to defend against these Space Marines that are there to mess up the people. Hostile Takeover. Wealth versus Wealth. That's pretty good. Cunning 8 is they get Tech level 5 though, so they can't do a Panopticon Makers. Treachery. Treachery can attack an enemy asset. On a successful attack, the treachery asset is lost, factors are gained, and the target asset switch sides to join the traitor's faction. They're gonna buy that. They're gonna buy the treachery so they can take over the Space Marines and get them for themselves. Even if they could not normally get them. Which they can't normally get Space Marines. So this is an opportunity. Treachery costs only... Is that the cost? No, that's HP. Treachery costs 10 fat creds. But it refunds half of its cost when it succeeds and takes over someone. I think. I'm pretty sure. Treachery asset is lost, 5 fat creds are gained. It doesn't specify who by, but I'm pretty sure it's... Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 5 assets are gained by the person using treachery. Right? I never actually asked that question before. Either way, treachery's still amazing, and they're going to buy it. So 10 cost. Faction turns. Heralds of Posterity. Used. Oh, that's the thing that could... I'm going to double check what other options they have. They have so much money. Spending 10 fat creds is not that much compared to what they could spend. They have 17. Hostile Takeover. If this kills an asset, it takes it over and this asset stays there. And it's Wealth versus Wealth, which is actually these guys' second highest, but these guys' weakest. Never mind. They're going to buy Hostile Takeover. Except they can't afford it. I'm dumb. They can't afford Hostile Takeover. So... the options are either attack now, get it next turn, use assets now and get their Psychic Assassins and make money. Yeah, they're going to do that. Even, yep. This is the part about the faction thing that is interesting. I have to analyze how to play each faction optimally in terms, because that's what they will be doing, effectively. So, if I use assets as the heralds, I can use that I can use Covert Transit Net to move the Psychic Assassins. 406 and 303, are they close enough? Or 303 and 406 just close enough. So yes, I can use that. Book of Secrets I could also use. Once per turn, a Book of Secrets allows the faction to reroll 1 die for an action taken on that world, or force an enemy faction to reroll 1 die. Okay. Yeah, I think they're gonna prepare, basically, to buy something big next turn. So this is gonna be this turn, use assets, next turn buy an asset. Third turn, just to get those Space Marines, basically. Yeah. So, I don't know if they can last that long. Let's find out. So they're going to use assets action. Action tracker. What the heck? Are these right back there? I don't know why these keep moving. Use assets action. So, firstly, they are going to use their commodities broker for a D8 worth of stuff. Discount. Okay. Cool. Commodities broker for 2 discounted. 2 next purchase. 2 fat creds. Next purchase will be cost 2 fat creds or less, but it cannot be reduced below half cost. So I just keep track of them there. They next will use, that can't be used, popular movement, doesn't have an action it can use, Covert Transit Net. They're going to move so here's the map. The Covert Transit Net is here. It can just reach up to 303, pull it down to itself on 406. That the Covert Transit Net is on that planet and needs backup. So, here we go. Action turns. Used Covert Transit Net to move Psychic Assassins from Ursati to... what is the planet name again? I know the... Oh, Ursati is the planet name. From Zaist to Ursati. Perfect. And the asset Psychic Assassins are being moved to Ursati. Perfect. Does that cost anything? Covert Transit Net? No, I didn't think so. Basic R&D department doesn't matter. Basic influence doesn't matter. Book of Secrets doesn't matter on their turn specifically. We're good. Okay. So that's their turn. That's their turn. They did not actually pursue their goal specifically this turn, but they are getting ready to do it well, hopefully. Next, that was a D5 before, so now we're rolling a D4. Nope, that's a 4, not a D4. That's still a 4, but it is a D4. The Rose Pack's gonna go. The Rose Pack has been keeping fairly out of the fight for the most part until the Ascendancy secretly showed up on their planet and decided to start taking over. Not fun. They have 2 turns to go until they complete Peaceable Kingdom. They have Secretive, so all their stuff is stealthed. So they aren't really under attack, but the Ascendancy has shown up, so they're going to get ready. Income of 3, so they go up to 8 fat creds. So their goal is not to attack, basically. Rose Pact, all secret. Base of Influence, Monopoly. As an action, which is not an attack, they can force people to give them fat creds. Saboteurs, as an action. Any asset attacked cannot use an action. That requires an attack, and that makes them money. They, I think, are going to buy something next turn when they have more money to spend. Because next turn they'll have more fat creds to play with. They're still quite alright right now. I'll double check. They have a wealth of 4 and a cunning of... They could... Well, they don't have tech level 4 yet. Do they have an asset that allows them to buy things as tech level 4? Nope. So they can't buy anything tech level 4. They could buy blackmail? They already have saboteurs. Blackmail's not the worst, but it's not great. Yeah, I think they're just gonna try to hold on wait a turn until they have more money to play with. Wealth of 4. They can buy a Monopoly. They have the fact credits to buy that now, actually. As an action, owners of Monopoly may force one other... Because I don't think... They have Monopoly. They could buy another one. But that's not useful. They're really kind of screwed. They need a laboratory. Allows a world to make hesitant progress in tech. This allows assets to be purchased on that world as if it had tech level 4. I think it's time to buy a laboratory so they can buy other stuff. So they're going to actually get access to tech level 4. So, faction turns. Rose Pact. Used. Purchased. Laboratory. For 6 fat creds. So, asset tracker. Rose Pact gets a laboratory because they can now buy tech level 4 assets. It is on their home planet of Tiora, and it, like all the others that these factions buy, is stealthed. Stop trying to do that. That is too dark. There we go. That's their action. Laboratory cost 6, I believe. Laboratory cost 6. There we go. So, 3 turns so far. I'll just do 3 out of 4 turns so far, and they have 1 to do. If they don't attack next turn, they get their 1 XP. Okay. So, after that, we have 3 factions to go. The Howling Corsairs still haven't gone yet. And I had to say that. Okay, well, let's see how this goes now. So the Howling Corsairs get their income of 4. Their income is less than most because that capital fleet that is so powerful costs 2 fact grids a turn to maintain. They're pirates, so any movement of an asset onto a world that has a base of influence for this faction costs 1 extra fact grid. No one has done that yet. Blood the enemy is what they want to do. They have a lot of things in place, so they're going to take the attack action and get their credits. So, attack action with exclamation mark. You attacked. Let's just start from the top. So, Capital Fleet is in Aria. What else is in Aria? Well, both... Which asset, which faction are going to attack? Quantum Jump just did some damage to them, but did take some damage back. They are not happy with Quantum Jump. They are also not happy with the Zarin Vanguard. But I think because the Zarin Vanguard just moved to that pre-tech infantry in, they don't want to mess with them just yet. They're going to focus on Quantum Jump. And no, Zarin Vanguard and Quantum Jump are not on such good terms that they will defend each other's assets. So they're going to attack the Quantum Jump. See how that goes. So faction turns. Attacked Quantum Jump on Aria with Capital Fleet. So that is, I believe, Force v Force. Where are you, Capital Fleet? Force v Force. If they win, that thing dies. It has 2 health and is going to be dealt at least 7 damage. That is a D10 plus 8 to attack. Okay, that's a 17. Yeah. Versus a D10 plus... Where are they? Quantum Jump plus 5. Let's see if it was a slaughter, because that thing's dead. It was a slaughter. Okay. I just want to roll the damage. I've never attacked with a Capital Fleet before. Asset Tracker. Capital Fleet. 3d10 plus 4. This is how much damage is dealt. And as overkill, 2 these be... Oh my goodness. I'm just going to write that down. Attack Quantum Jump on Aria with Capital Fleet. Success. Dealt 27 damage, 25 of which is overkill, to the... Oh, defend with... whatever those... What are they called? Sort of the C. I used them twice and I've forgotten them already. Commodities Brokers. Defend with Commodities Brokers. Yes, the Capital Fleets are nothing to balk at all. They are the nastiest It's pretty much the nastiest straight up asset in a fight in the game. The Morgul fleet is nothing to shake your head at. To the commodities brokers. So this might be they remember those so the Omega space yards is the base of influence for Quantum Jump. That did not get attacked, that did not take damage. So they didn't glass that part of the planet. The commodities brokers were specifically that group of people that got pantsed telekinetically once. They are all dead. They are all super dead. They have been killed outright by the Howling Corsairs, and probably in a horrific and gruesome way as well. That is what has happened to those people. They are dead, and that's it. Rip. But they're not done. They're also attacking Quantum Jump on Onks with Blockade Fleet. They are defending. They have, well, firstly, where are you, commodities broker? There you are with your 2 health. Rip. Okay, stop telling me I can't kill my assets. There we go. And then, so, what have we got? Quantum Jump on Aria. No, they're not on Aria. They're on Onks. They're going to have to defend with their Strike Fleet. It's out of their base. With Strike Fleet. Attack Quantum with Onks, defend with Strike Fleet. Let's see how this goes. So, a Blockade Fleet is not a capital fleet. A Blockade Fleet for the Howling Corsairs is force versus wealth. I should have thought through it before, but either way, force versus wealth. +8 for the Howling Corsairs, obviously. So, still good. But versus wealth is +6, so they have a better chance. So, a D10 +8 to attack. Okay, it's still possible to defend against this one for once. So, the defense roll is 11. The attack succeeds. Okay. These guys are monsters. This is the first time I've actually attacked with them. And turns out, yeah, no, they are right to be feared. Fictionally and mechanically, they are consistent between those two. Defend with Strike Fleet. Success. Dealt. How much damage? Blockade Fleet doesn't actually deal that much damage, though. It does, however, when they successfully hit an enemy faction asset, they steal 1d4 fat creds from the target faction as well. This theft can occur to a faction only once per turn, no matter how many Blockade Fleets attack. As an action, this asset may also move itself to a world within 1 hex. So, they only deal a d6 damage, but then they steal a d4 fat cred. So, 4 damage, 1 fat cred. Okay. I'll do those now. So, 1 fat cred is stolen from Quantum Jump and given to the Howling Corsairs. And, how much damage was it? 4 damage was dealt. I will write it down here first, actually. Dealt 4 damage and stole 1 fat cred. Perfect. But that's not all. Just get this in. So Quantum Jump's Strike Fleet took, after the space, 4 damage. 4 health. It's had half health. See how that goes. But they have more they can do. So the Howling Corsairs already have Treachery, but it's on Mars. Mars, as well as the Demagogue, both of those are not around enemies. So not going to attack with those. The space, that's what I was looking for, Space Marines. Space Marines are around enemies. So Space Marines are going to attack. Oops, where are we? Faction turn. Attacked the Heralds of Posterity with Space Marines. Defend with, we have multiple options to defend, and I keep switching to that when I don't need to right now. Quantum Jump. Where are we? Heralds of Posterity on Ursati. They can defend with any of these. These guys all have a lot of health as well. But only one, popular movement, can deal some counter damage. So I need to stop switching to that, at least right now. I'm about to switch to it. Defend with popular movement. So, Space Marines, being the attacker, gets to choose the role, and the role is force versus force. Force versus force means 8 versus 5. So the attack is 12, and the defend is 15. Oh boy! For once, the defense wins. The Howling Corsairs are not literally immortal and undestroyable. So, on a loss, counter damage is dealt, and this time on a loss, there is actually counter damage to deal. So popular movement deals 1d6 counter damage, 2 counter damage. So, failure. Space Marines suffer 2 damage, which is, all in all, not really the worst thing to happen to them, because these Space Marines have 16 health. So they're done too. Next, after the Howling Corsairs go, because that is their thing done. Oh, I should also double check their Blood the Enemy, because they were at that before. They might let me think. Okay, so they dealt 4 damage here, 2 damage. Let me check the definition of Blood the Enemy. Inflict a number of hit points of damage on an enemy faction. I don't think the 27 counts for Blood the Enemy. I think just the effective hit points that was dealt. I don't think overkill counts for Blood the Enemy. Because that just makes a lot of sense. It means overkill is not a good thing, if that makes sense. But still, that would bring them. They were at 8. You needed 12, and this past turn they dealt 2 damage here, and they dealt 4 damage here, so they dealt 6 damage. Bring them up to 14 out of 20. Next turn, they're probably going to finish Blood the Enemy. We'll see how they might. We'll see how things develop with them, because they might not always be necessarily as bloodthirsty as they are now, but they are now. Now a D2 to see who goes next. 1. The Ascendancy is going next. So, I will come up to 9. The Ascendancy also has Blood the Enemy. Primarily, they want to take over the Rose Pact. However, someone just showed up on their doorstep. Does not want to be friends on their home planet. And the Rose Pact is stealthed. So, let me delete this entirely. Delete row. Stop telling me that. So, the Ascendancy, well, if they all attack right now, they have 3 things they can attack with. They can attack with that. They can't attack with that because everything around there is stealthed. That's on a totally different planet. So, if they attacked, they would only attack with 1 thing. It would deal 2d6 damage. Their goal is to blood the enemy. They want to 2d6 is not that much. They want to deal 14 total damage, which is not that little. Yeah, they're gonna attack. They're gonna get their goal. They haven't actually bought this Engineered Slaves asset. It's an asset requiring Force 1 with the statistics of 6 HP, 2 fat cred cost, technical 4, with an asset attack of forces of 6 damage and counter attack 1d4 damage, which is actually decent for 2 fat creds. It's really good for 2 fat creds. But for now, let's go with attack. So, the Ascendancy, where are you? You attack action. Attacked the Ciphers with Venture Capital. Defend with, like before, base of influence. They planted their base of influence. They got their XP. If it dies, that's not the worst thing. Okay, it is really bad, but it's not as bad as if the Psychic Assassins die, and then the base of influence dies. Defend with base of influence, wealth versus wealth. So it is a +6, attacking a +3. +6 to attack. They literally can't defend enough. Okay, so 2d6 damage is dealt. If it's 8 or more, it's 4. Okay, so the base is still alive. Faction turns. Success. 4 damage dealt to base of influence and faction. Okay. Perfect. Faction tracker. Blood to the enemy. Inflict number of hit points damage on an enemy faction. And it's enemy assets or faction, but either way. The text is actually different in the revised version that I have. For those wondering. The Ascendancy dealt 4 more damage, bringing them up to 6. These guys take 4 more damage, to 23. And these guys take 4 more damage, bring them down to 4 health. Okay. I gave them their money. I gave them their money. Now it's just the penitent's turn. Let me double check if there's anything else they can attack with. They're on Tiora. They have a commodities broker. But just to double check, everything else on Tiora is stealthed. Yes, everything else on Tiora is stealthed. So they can't attack it. Okay, cool. So that is their turn. And now the penitent will go. So income of 5, bring it up to 13. Their goal is to expand influence. Where have they moved? Because I think they just moved something to expand influence. The penitent used assets, use their mercenary ability to move their Posic infantry and heavy drop assets to 0205 Teddy Mauer, and they moved their Gravtech formation to deep space. Their Posic infantry. Okay, so they're just using assets. I think they're going to use assets again. So 205, if I bring the map over, their main thing is here. Oh, yeah, their main thing is here. They moved their stuff there. Heavy drop. They can, if they use their assets, they'll be able to actually. They don't want to plant a base right next door. They are going to get involved. So let me check heavy drop assets, specifically how far it can move them. So sort to penitent. As an action, any one non-starship asset, including this one, may be moved to any world within 1 hex for 1 fat cred. But they can already. Why did I buy this? I don't know. In that case, they might use. No, they can't do that. Okay, so my plan here in that case. Buy base of influence this turn. Next turn, refit asset to change these relatively useless heavy drop assets. What happened? My webcam died. That was weird. Webcam's dead. Why is my webcam dead? I think. Okay. So my webcam is just dead. My computer decided it wasn't plugged in anymore, even though it is. I'm going to remove the webcam from my thing, and let's just finish this without it, because apparently I'm not going to interrupt that for this. We're almost done. We're literally at the last turn. Either way, right now, expand influence, even though it's just 1 base over. So, expand influence action onto the planets that are. We're put them here. They are. So they're expanding here. I don't want to actually show what the secret planet tags are. That is different from faction turns. So there are 2 planets there. None of them are that fun to expand to, really. Are they just going to move the thing they moved right back? Did I just play this? I think I played this really badly. Okay. Oh, that could be a thing. Let me check something. All faction assets gain the following special ability. As an action, the asset move itself to any world within 1 hex. Okay, no, that doesn't work. I was wondering if we could stack that with the other ability. But we can't. Okay, so this is useless. So in that case, oh boy, I played this faction badly already. Turns. I purchased this heavy drop asset, not realizing forgetting I had the mercenary ability. This is why I always like, just in terms of playstyle, to some people it may be annoying to have me analyze this all the time. But there are a lot of factions, and if I don't know their inside and out, I purchase a useless asset for them on turn 1. Because mercenaries don't need this. But I forgot they had that ability. That's the thing. So, I need to think. I'm not going to retcon it. I played it badly. That's fine. I am going to need to figure out what to do now, however. That is a decent staging ground. And they could buy a laboratory afterwards. In fact, they can move their laboratory over because they have one. That would be interesting. Let's do that. Yeah. Yes. And yes. So later they're going to move their laboratory over to this planet because it's only tech level. Yeah. Or they're going to buy one because it's only 4 HP. I don't think it's a lot of fat crits. It's 6 fat crits. So either way, expand influence onto a planet. Teddy Maor is what it is going to be called. And how many fat crits do they want to spend with no one around and a bunch of stuff of their stuff on there? They're not going to spend a lot. They don't have that many oh, they have decent. Let's go with... they could use that money. Let's literally go with 1. It's right next door. They're going to spend 1 fat cred to build a 1 HP base of influence. Spent 1 fat cred to build a 1 HP base of influence. Asset tracker. Asset tracker, asset tracker, asset tracker. The penitent. Build a base of influence. 1 HP on Teddy Maor. And yes, the planet is called Vided Soed. I was shrugging, but my webcam was off. That's their turn, but they accomplished their goal. So that's cool. The penitent have their goal. Their new goal is going to be probably expand influence again, but this one time to somewhere useful. They could do Wealth of Worlds. They would need to spend 5 fat creds to get in turn anyways, and they have 12. Yes. They're going to do Wealth of Worlds. These guys haven't. The 2 places who have done Wealth of Worlds, I'll keep this note here. Has done Wealth of Worlds. Has completed Wealth of Worlds. Because they can't do it again until their wealth goes up. That's these guys and these guys have done it. These guys haven't. So, Wealth of Worlds isn't there anymore because everyone else finished it. So, spend. Stop it. There we go. I really do not like how notes go away since you're not hovering over them. Spend 5 fat creds. Throw them into the ether. I know what it is, so I'm just going to put it there. Difficulty 2. They'll get 2 XP. They get 1 XP for that. They're good. They're good. I'm just checking goals and XP. Everyone is good right now. I'll check the turn tracker. Oops. Goal completed. New goal, Wealth of Worlds. Okay. Then, that is the faction turn. That is it relatively fast, as you can see. There were some mistakes, there was some discussion, there was some stuff, but that was like, we have 9 factions going on. Yeah. So that was the faction turn. For those watching who are like, why is this taking so long? If you are running your own Stars of the Number game, I recommend having basically the more factions you have, the exponentially longer this will take. Because it doesn't feel exponential because you're adding a linear amount of factions, but basically every time you want to check something, you have more to sift through, and it adds up. So that was the faction turn. Some stuff went down. The entire turn was not basically an explosion, but it was like, yeah, that 27 damage overkill, though. Stuff happened on Aria. Stuff is happening on Aria. We had our first asset death this turn. So, moment of silence for those quantum jump. What are they called? Not commercial negotiators, so that sounds like a decent name for them. It's not that. What is it? Commodities brokers. So, I like commercial negotiators. Commodities brokers. Moment of silence for that. Yes, F. And there will be some news tomorrow in game. It's not going to be a full-on like news update. Everyone's just getting it. I'm going to deliver these in a more organic way. Some of them will, if it makes sense to, it will be just a news update. Some of them will be like mini small scenes of this happening and people watching and reacting and stuff like that. So, yeah. Thank you all for watching. I'm going to go continue my prep because the faction turn is not all the prep. The faction turn is just the background stuff. The other prep I have to do is the adventure, which I am looking forward to. This will be interesting because next session will be, I think half of it will be like a short time skip, getting back into things, revisiting the characters. It's been a bit since we played, not that long, but a couple weeks. And then after that, I think we'll jump into things, into like a real mission. There's a lot of directions the player characters can go. They just completed a big goal, they got a base, and they have a lot of threads that are around them. So I will see you all tomorrow. Catch the stream on. I keep looking at my webcam, and I keep forgetting it's off. Either way, catch the stream on twitch.tv/goldenwh tomorrow at I don't know time zones in my head, so I think 3 p.m. Pacific is right. Let's say that 3 p.m. Pacific. If not, then around then. But I'm pretty sure that's right. Either way, I will see you then.